What's good, everybody? It's your man, the myth, the legend, the voice, bringing you this week's Time Out. This is where we take a step back and assess the game of life, looking to God for strategies to bring us true success. This week's thought: come on, rep. Salute to the stripes. There were two events that I cared about deeply that took place over the past couple days or so. You had the Super Bowl and UFC 284. Now, the governing bodies played a major role in both of these events. For UFC 284, in the main event, the judges gave the fight to the champion, Islam Makhachev, although Volkanovski and many people thought that he won the fight. Volk said he thought he had rounds 2, 3, and 5, and I could see that. Round 4 is a round that a lot of people question, myself included. Islam had back control most of the time and had a body triangle locked in. I mean, it was a very dominant position, but that was it. He didn't do anything with it. I mean, he tried to submit him, but they were feeble attempts. The whole time, Volkanovski was just punching him in the face and talking bad to him. Now, the bad talk, that doesn't really matter. This is not battle rap. But the punches in the face, though not very hard, at least he was doing something. And my thought, as far as a fight is concerned, if it goes to a decision, is who would I most want to be when the fight was over? Now, looking at these pictures, who would you want to be? The person on the right or the person on the left? The one with the least amount of wear and tear is the one who lost the fight. But those are the rules. In the Super Bowl, the same kind of thing happened. There was a penalty that was called with just a few seconds left in the game. That penalty really changed the shape and the outcome of the game. James Bradbury, the Eagles player, the defensive back that committed the penalty, he said that he was guilty. He owned up to it. He fessed up to it. He said, hey, I grabbed his jersey. I was hoping they wouldn't call it. But in real time seeing it, it was so minuscule that it just felt like it was wrong to call that against the Eagles. You know, I understand that the letter of the law says that he was guilty, but in the spirit of things, especially with everything on the line and how much it would play into the outcome of the game, just seems like it'd be better to have let it go. It was a ticky-tack foul. Let him play. Alas, the ref did not feel that way, and he stuck to the letter of the law. The Chiefs won. Not saying that they wouldn't have won anyway, but it was, or I should say, this call did overshadow their win, and it will be something talked about for years to come. Sometimes in our lives, things happen, and it just seems unfair. You know, we see famine in the world, and we know what happened with the earthquakes in Turkey and in Syria recently, and just even in our lives, some things that we really want and desire, we feel will be good for us that don't come through. So we also experience some things that, maybe looking at it in the finest of details, it seems okay, but in the overall scheme, it seems as if it's like not fair at all. We're not the only ones that felt that way. Martha, the sister of Mary, as well as Lazarus, felt that Jesus was being unfair to her. Jesus and his disciples were there at the house. They were entertaining, and Martha was there. The Bible doesn't say that Lazarus was there, but we know that Martha was there. And Martha was sitting at Jesus' feet, learning from him. Mary was sitting at his feet, learning from him. And Martha said, Jesus, don't you see all this work I'm doing? I mean, like I'm getting all this food and stuff together for you to feed you and your people, because you roll deep. 12 or more people coming. Tell Mary to come help me. It's not fair that I have to do all this work myself. And outside looking in, it doesn't seem fair. You live in a house just like Martha lives in a house. Your household is entertaining. You ought to chip in and help out. But the Lord said, no, I'm not going to take this away from Mary. She's chosen the better thing. Are you making food for us to eat? Absolutely. Is that an important work? Yes, it is. But Jesus said, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God. We need his word. His word will go past time and throughout eternity, because as his word says, it won't return to him void, one, so it's going to accomplish what it's supposed to accomplish. And secondly, that heaven and earth will pass away, but his word will never pass away. So Mary was getting what was everlasting, while Martha was working on what would only last maybe a couple days. So though it seemed unfair to Martha, she was placing too high a value on what she was doing. We got to keep the main thing, just as Jesus was teaching Martha. We've got to do the same. So here's the play. No matter how good the work is that you're doing, you still need Jesus. There is nothing that we can do for him that's more important than spending time with him. When he doesn't do what we ask him to do, know that he's not being unfair. Instead, trust that he knows what's best and will work all things together for good to those who love him and are called according to his purpose. It's your man, The Voice, with this week's timeout. All right, time to get back in the game of life. Until next week, ready, break.